Hey Steven, so here is lesson number 3. I got it written out here. And you talked about soloing over chord changes and things like that. Which that's great because a lot of players get into that a lot later in their playing. I know that I did for sure. And it's not that hard. It might be a little bit tricky, but if you start thinking that way now, you'll be a lot better off down the line. So we'll kind of get right into it today. I've got lots of little examples that I've written out here. I've got 11, I wouldn't call them licks, but I have 11 kind of ideas. And then I've got one classic rock riff here at the end. So we'll go ahead and jump to it. So one of the keys to being able to playing over the chord changes is knowing where all your notes are on the fretboard. That's a big plus, because even if you just know where your notes are, you could just play your root notes. So if the song is G, C, and D, you could get away with just playing G, C, D, back to G. Or you could do it higher up on the neck, G, C, D, back to C. And that would technically be considered playing over the chord changes, because all you're doing is just playing the root note. So the idea of playing over changes is really just playing notes that are related to the chord that's being played at the time. I hope that makes sense. So for example, if I'm playing a G chord here, if I'm going to solo over the G chord, I'm going to play notes that relate to the key of G major, particularly this G major chord right here. So I may do, and that all relates to G. I can take it up here. And that all relates to G. Say the song goes to C after that, now I'm going to play notes that are relatable to the C chord. So then I'm going to start doing stuff like maybe it goes to a D after that. Uh-oh. There we go. Getting a little sloppy there. Still recovering from last night. We played in Kansas City last night and we did a turn and burn. So after we got done playing, we loaded up and drove all the way back to Tulsa. It was about a 4-hour drive. And I got back here into Stillwater about 8:15 this morning when I got home. And I woke up at 4:30 and took over the last shift of driving. So that's my excuse for sloppy playing. So it's easier said than done when you're doing this. An easy way to think about it is finding very small chords. So rather than trying to think like, okay, well, here's a big G chord, here's a big G chord, here's a G chord, all this kind of stuff like that. That's all important. And we can get to that kind of stuff later down the line. But right now, you can get into playing over chord changes by just taking very small triad chords. So just 3-note chords. Like that. So rather than playing a G chord, you have a very small little triad chord. And this is actually going to bring us to our first little lick right here. So our number 1 that I have written out on our sheet here, number 1 is going to do this. And it's a G triad, and it just goes. And I'm playing it as a chord right now. We're going to end up not doing that. We're going to play it note for note. But I want to emphasize the point that this is a chord. And I'm going on the D string, I'm going on the 5th fret. And then on G, I'm on the 4th fret. And then on the B string, I'm on the 3rd fret. That is triad number 1 right there, and I've got that written out on your sheet here too. You can sit there and just kind of go over it again and again and again. And I want to talk real quick about the way that I'm picking this. It's totally up to you however you want to do it. There's no right or wrong way. I do like a hybrid pick, so we'll pick either with all my pick or I'll use my fingers. Most of the time I'm doing something like this. It's pick, finger, finger. Sometimes I'll just do all pick though, so it's... If you wanted to get into like sweep picking, that would be a sweep right there, if you were to do something like that. So that's lick number 1. Triad number 1, I guess. Our second one is going to be a C chord, or a C triad. And you might already know this kind of C-shaped bar chord right here. Like this. And basically all we're going to do is we're going to play this, but we're only going to play what this finger's covering up. And we're actually going to use our pointer finger for it. So on the 5th fret, we're playing the D string on 5, the G on 5, and the B on 5. So you got G, C. That's chord number 2, or triad number 2. If we take all that up and move to the 7th fret, we get our D. So it's the 7th fret on the D string, the G, and the B. And that is number 3. And that's a D triad. So far you got G, you got C, and you've got D. And then I went ahead and threw in one more here. This is number 4. This is another G, and it sounds like this. It's way up here on the neck. Not way up here on the neck, but higher than, you know, playing down here. It kind of looks like a D chord, you know, if you were to play D way down here, but then slide it all the way up. So it's the 7th fret of the G, the 8th fret of G, and the 8th fret of B, and then the 7th fret of high E. So what you can do with all these is you can actually build little melodies here. And I've got a backing track pulled up, and I'll send you a link to this one. I'm going to start it here, and for some reason it plays like an E minor chord in the beginning of this, but then all it is just G, C, and D, just back and forth over and over for like 13 minutes. So I'll start it here. Maybe. Here we go. Hopefully this comes through the camera. So there's G. For some reason you get this weird E chord. Then it goes to C, D, and then it starts in the G. G, C, D, G. And all I'm going to do is play these triads. G, C, D, G. So I'm going backwards. I hope that's coming through the video all right. I'll have to watch it and make sure it does. So all I'm doing is just picking straight up and straight down those little triads, almost in kind of like an arpeggio kind of way. But you don't have to do it in that order. You could pick any order you wanted. You could do something like, so this is G, C, D, back to G. And all I'm doing is just playing right out of these little triads. So I want you to kind of work on that over the next week or so. Experiment with it, and I've got some other little variations here that I'm going to show you too. But that's a good way to kind of get into playing chord changes. And the cool thing about this is all movable, so you can move it to different keys. And we can get into that as well here in a little bit. Because I know you said that you played a lot in like the key of A. So doing this in the key of A, for example, would just be moving everything up 2 frets. So it would be like... like that. I just shifted everything up 2 frets. But right now we're in the key of G, kind of get you out of your comfort zone. So those were licks, using licks or triads 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I want to talk about number 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we're going to embellish on these little chord triads here. So now lick number 5 is going to look like this. We're just adding one more note into that. So we're going 5. This is our normal triad. 5. That's G on 4, 3 on B. All we're adding is the 5th fret on B. Right there. That's lick number 5. If we go to lick number 6, we're going to add in a couple notes. So we're going to start with our regular triad. So that's 5 on D, 5 on G, 5 on B, and then we're going to go 6 on B. Oh, sorry, 7 on B. Wait, hold on. I told you this was a long night. There we go. So it's 7 on 6. Ah! I'm getting all mixed up here. So 5, 5, 5, 6, 8. There we go. One more time. This is what it is. Using our C triad here, it is 5 on D, 5 on G, 5 on B, 6 on B, and 8 on B. That's our little embellishment, and that is lick number 6. And we're going to do the same thing on number 7. It's going to be the same kind of pattern. So lick number 7, believe it or not, all starts on the 7th fret. So we're using our D triad. This time we're going to add in the 8th fret on the B and the 10th fret on the B. So we're going 7, 7, 7, and then that's 8 and 10. And that brings us to lick number 8, where we're going to work out of this little G triad up here, and we're going to go like this. So that's 7 on G, 8 on B, 7 on your high E, 8 on your high E, and 10 on the high E. Oop. And that is lick number 8. You might have heard that sound in the Allman Brothers song Jessica. It starts with almost that same lick right there. Except rather than sliding to 10, they do a little bend. Before sliding back into the other chords and things like that. So that is lick 5, 6, 7, and 8. One more time, I'll kind of run through it here. There we go. Just like that. So now when you have these little extra embellishments, let me turn on the backing track again and I'll show you what you can do with it. So there's C, we'll let it come around. Here's D and G. So here we go. G, C, D, and then G. So I'm just picking notes out of these triads. I'm not necessarily playing in any particular order or anything like that. Just little things like that, and I'm just playing with it. I don't have really any set lick or anything like that I'm playing. I'm just kind of experimenting and coming up with cool little melodies in my head right on the spot as I'm playing. So that's something that you can work on. And again, I'll send you the link to this backing track here. And it's real cool because it shows you what chord it's playing, so you don't have to sit there and guess it. It tells you it's playing G, then it tells you it's playing C. So it's really easy to look at. I have a couple more little licks here. I got 9 and 10. So 9 and 10 are just little variations. So we have our G triad right here. We have that same triad shape, but if we move it way up here between 10, 9, and 8, it's a C triad. Similar to this one. So that's lick number 9. This is our C triad. And it's 10 on D, 9 on G, and 8 on B. And then if we slide that whole thing up 2 frets, you get another D triad. So this is a D right here, and it's 12 on D, 11 on G, and 10 on B. So you could even do something like that. You start throwing in the little variations, so like... And the idea is that you mix all the stuff together, so you don't even have to start down here. You can start at this high G triad up here and do something like this. So G, C, D, maybe back to G, right here. So it's just mixing things up. So number 11 here, this is more of a an actual like little lick melody that I wrote out here using the last set of triads that I just showed you, and it sounds like this. Let's see. So it's and then C, D, and then it goes. We'll do that one more time. So this is lick number 10. I'll kind of break it down here for you. So we're starting with this little G triad, and we're actually sliding into our first note. So we're sliding from 3 to 4 on our G, and we're going like that, and then we're going on the B string, 3, 5. We're playing that 3 twice, and then we're going back to the 4th fret on G. So we're sliding in, 3, 3 on B, 5 on B, and then back to 4 on G. And we use that same pattern on all of our other ones. So C, you're going to slide from 8 to 9 on G, then you're going to play 8 on the B string twice, play 10 on the B string, go back to 9 on G, so that's... We can do the same thing for our D. So this time we're sliding 10 to 11 on G, playing 10 on B twice, playing 12 on B, and then going back to 11 on G. And then this last one is a little bit different. We're using this G triad up here, and we're actually sliding in from 6 on our high E string to 7. Then we're playing 8 on B twice. That's 7 on G there, and then we go back to 8 on our B string. So all together you got... Oh, that's a cool little variation. Turn on the backing track here. We'll kind of let it come around. There's D, and G, 2, 3, 4. Oh, this moves a little bit faster than what I was thinking. Okay, here we go. So I did like a slight little variation on it just to keep up with what was going on. It's a little bit faster than I thought it was right when I wrote this out. But it's a great little lick. And you could use that with all your other little licks too. So you could do like... That's just playing playing right over all the chord changes. All over all the chords. So this is a great place to start with just simple 3-chord songs. And again, if you ever have any questions or whatever, just let me know. This can be a little confusing, so just kind of have to stick with it and keep working your way through it. And start small. Just start with the little triads like this. And kind of see what melodies you can pull out of that. And then over time, you'll want to add more notes in. So then that's whenever you'll start adding these extra little embellishment notes and stuff. Kind of expanding. And then you'll find that a lot of these notes are all related. And that's the cool thing about music is that, say, if we're playing in the key of G, all of these chords, all the notes that are in the key of, or all the notes that make up a C chord, you can play in the key of G too, and pretty much the key of D as well. They all are all related, and I don't want to dig too deep into that kind of stuff. I just kind of want you to experiment with coming up with some cool little melodies using these ideas. So our last little lick here, this is Aerosmith, Walk This Way. So this is our classic rock riff, and it sounds like this. Totally different than playing over chord changes. It goes like this. Let me see where I can get the camera in here. So I'll start over here. And I think it repeats it twice in the intro. Something like that. So I got it written out here. I'll walk you through it really quickly though. So it's on the A string, real simple. We're just walking straight up. We're going 0, 1, 2. And I'm trying to get it into the camera here. So 0, 1, 2. Then I'm going 2 on the D string. So, and I'm doing that again. Same thing. So, and then I'm playing my low E string all by itself. One more time. I find myself playing it lots of different ways. Sometimes I'll use 2 fingers, 1 finger, all sorts of stuff. So this is just the first part. I'm just repeating it. So 0, 1, 2, 2, 0. So our second part is going to do almost the same thing, but we're going to add in 1 extra note. So we're going to go like this. This is the second half. So all we did was throw in a 3 up here, and I kind of give that 3 a little bend, just a little bit. Not a whole lot. So it's pretty much the same thing. 0, 1, 2. 2 on D, 0, 1, 2, 3 on our low E with a slight bend, and then you end on 2 on the D string. So all the way through it sounds like this. That's the whole thing. And I'm alternate picking this, so I'm going up, down, up, down, up, down. If you can see, I'm trying to exaggerate it a little bit. There you go. So there's your riff. You got your little triads and your licks and all that stuff. Again, if you ever have any questions, just let me know. You got my phone number. Call me, send me a message, whatever you want to do. Just let me know. I hope this was helpful. If not, let me know. Do something different or whatever. It's a lot to take in at once, playing over chord changes, but it's very, very cool, and it's definitely good to know how to do it a little bit. Even if you are not a jazz player or anything like that, just knowing kind of the basics of it, using these triads is great. So I will get off here, and I'll talk to you later. See ya.